Welcome back to the Business Roundtable Podcast. My name is David Carr, founder of Steward Your Business, where we bring people together to accomplish great things. And we do that here on the podcast week after week, episode after episode. And I'm excited to have another brand new guest this week, Stephanie Simpson of Brand-ification. Welcome to the podcast, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm excited to dig into this one because we're going to do it a little different than we've typically done in our episodes. Because you have such a great background in branding and marketing and positioning. And really what I wanted to have you come on here is like, there's a real gap between companies about where they are, what they stand for, how do they show up in the world, and how do they diversify themselves. And I'm excited for you to come on the podcast today. We're going to do a kind of a working exercise. You're going to go through, look at Steward Your Business and give me some great feedback. But before we jump into that, if you will, I'd love you to just talk to our audience about your journey in the branding space and why you created Brand-ification now. This is fantastic to have you here. So would you just walk us through a little bit of your journey, Stephanie?
Yeah, it's a long and winding road, but I started my career off at Warner Brothers in the marketing department at Warner Brothers Television, and learned from a great marketer there who ended up being the head of all of Warner Brothers marketing, and she's incredible. And so I learned about branding and about the importance of, showing exactly what you are so that you attract exactly who you want. So that was a great learning experience. And then over the years, I wanted to start my own business, and I'm a photographer and a cinematographer. I have a master's from Art Center College of Design. And so I had a photography business for 13 years, and I concentrated on working with business owners and their visual brand. And what I noticed over time is that business owners often don't understand their own business. And so it went from, instead of like, can I take a nice picture? Of course I can, but is it telling the story of your business? Is it the right
Right.
picture to tell about your brand? And not everybody wants to be the face of their brand. So it's important to know like what's going to tell that story. So I started coaching clients on how to stand out in the marketplace and how to understand what their company's all about and what they're passionate about and how to share that and communicate it. And over time, I found that the deliverable of photography was not as satisfying as the deliverable of really helping people elevate their businesses and attract more clients and feel proud of themselves. They had really done something extraordinary from nothing into something amazing. So that's that's my journey.
Yeah, no, I love it. But I mean, you are such a talented photographer too,
Thank you.
Steffi. So you guys, when you go check out Brand-ification, you'll see some of her work and connect with Stephanie. We're connected on LinkedIn as well. But I love that they're saying, okay, the photography was an outcome, but what I hear you saying is that your love of helping people understand what they are, what their businesses are really about, how they're really becoming is really your passion. and,
Yeah.
and that's where you've come to Brand-ification now. It's like, okay, more than it, yes, images are important, but it's more than that outcome.
Yeah, it's making people feel good about themselves and the things that they've created. And nothing, business owners, like entrepreneurs, we're like such a specific breed of people. And we put our all and our hearts and souls into these businesses. And if it's just kind of meh at the end and you're feeling a little bit of brand envy, or you're just not attracting the right clients, and you think, what am I doing wrong? I love my
hmm
business, but I'm just not getting what I need out of it. And so
hmm
most of the time, the problem is messaging. The problem is
Yeah.
understanding what you're saying that's going to make you the obvious choice to your ideal customers.
Well, I know you and I were talking before we recorded this podcast, and one thing I wrote down that you alluded to is that we were talking about, I think business focus. I got to get the LLC, I got the formation, I got to get a website or a logo. And what you said that stood out to me was it really just a mirror back of like, let me be a mirror back. And what are you really standing on? What is the foundation of what you're trying to create here? And I think people don't understand that. They have some thought possibly, but they get caught in the other minutia. And what I found is they haven't spent the time necessary working with somebody like you, Stephanie. And I loved, even before we recorded this podcast, you gave me some more questions and some homework we'll unpack to further get to the point of like, what do you stand for? What are you all about? What is makes you unique in the marketplace? Because there's a lot of people that can do, leadership development and other things that I do as part of your Steward Your Business. And I'm excited for you to unpack this with me today.
Me too.
Yeah. So with that, Stephanie, I'll just let you lead the conversation a little bit of like, show us how you work. And we're going to use me, David Carr, Steward Your Business, as an example of like when you guys are working with a brand strategist like Stephanie, what that should look like and how Stephanie's unique approach with all of her background and experience. So we're going to be opening up the hood. I'm just going to be transparent, open here with you all. So you're going to learn a little bit more about Steward Your Business today, and let Stephanie ask some questions, and we're going to have a dialogue back and forth. So you can start to see, are you applying these principles in your own business? And of course, follow up with Stephanie as you hear these things. You're like, man, I could probably use her help. But Stephanie, I'll let you kind of take it away. As you're working with a client, as you're working with somebody, and you've looked at some of my resources, my website, and I know you've got a questionnaire that I filled out. Why don't you just walk us through kind of the journey working with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the important thing is to understand that a brand is not a logo or a color palette or the images that you
Mm-hmm.
use. It is who you are, who you want to attract, and what makes you stand out. And it's really, really hard. It's so challenging to do
Mm-hmm.
that from within your business. They say you can't see the label from inside the bottle. Well, it's the same
Yeah.
thing. And it's really difficult to do for your own business to understand what makes me special, and because it's not something we really dwell on in our
Yeah.
lives.
Yeah. No,
Just hope
yeah,
people like
we're
what
so
we're
close
doing.
to it. Yeah, I can't even see, I can't see it, right? You said, I love that. You can't see the inside, the label from the inside. So
Yeah,
I love that you're going to provide an outside perspective, having worked with so many different businesses and working with entrepreneurs to give us and give me perspective.
yeah. So the framework that I work with is what
Mm-hmm.
I call the 5 pillars of marketing, and that's where we start, to understand what those are and then how we're gonna fill in the important information about you into those 5 pillars. So the 5 pillars
Mm-hmm.
are this. First one is understanding deeply your target audience. Who
Mm-hmm.
specifically are you trying to attract? And it's very unproductive to say like, well, anybody with a paycheck, anybody with a
Anyone with
checkbook.
a pulse? Yes.
Yeah,
No.
that doesn't help us, and it doesn't help people refer us either because they need to
Mm-hmm.
understand who we are and what we stand for. So when they see that person, they say, "Ah, I've got the person for you." So understanding your target audience is foundational. That's the most important first step. Second step is
Mm-hmm.
your messaging, understanding what to say to those people so that they understand you and know what they're going to get out of the experience. This is your
Mm-hmm.
differentiators, the things that help you stand apart in the marketplace, the things you're passionate about, how you wanna who you wanna attract and how what can you say that's gonna make them say, "Ah, they're the person, that they said the thing, that's what I want."
Mm-hmm.
Number 3 is content. Content marketing should be your foundational marketing. So we're talking about blog posts for SEO, social media posts for brand recognition and awareness, email for directly speaking to interested companies. That's your traditional inbound marketing. But it can also be thought leadership, podcasts. It can be other forms of content that you create. Some people want to have content as the top of their funnel. So they want to create all kinds of amazing tools. I use HubSpot as an example. They offer all these amazing tools and amazing education and certifications and stuff, all to get you into their ecosystem so that you
Mm-hmm.
someday, when you're ready, pay for their very expensive tools.
Right? But I got to get you in somewhere,
They got to
somewhere
get
in
you
the
in somewhere. They
process,
need to get
right?
you to
Yeah.
grow to afford them, to need them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very smart way to go. The
Mm-hmm.
fourth pillar is growth marketing. So that can be public speaking, it could be events, it could be affiliate marketing, it could be referral marketing, it could be all kinds of different things, but a system that you can use that you can scale up or back depending on your needs for acquiring new clients. So that's
Mm-hmm.
like sort of the real engine to your marketing funnel. And then the last one is what I call infusion. which is really infusing who you are and what your brand stands for into everything that you do. That's the
Mm.
customer journey. That's how you speak to customers, how your team is trained, who you hire. It's everything that you do. So it could even be like, I only buy recycled paper, or,
Mhm.
I believe strongly in the environment. So these are the things that I'm doing to exemplify those and to show
Mhm.
that. So once you have all of those pieces in place, you are a rock solid brand. You are really speaking the right message to the right people and closing those sales. So
Mhm.
that's kind of where I start. And so I want to start this sort of process with you and learn
Yes.
about your business, and then how you can refine your messaging and showcase and shine a light on your differentiators. So, first things first, I want to know all about your target audience.
Sure. No, thanks, Stephanie. Well, it's Steward Your Business. We're all about bringing people together to accomplish great things. So it's all steward is a big important word too, because meaning coming from my biological background, working in environmental consulting services, AEC industry, architecture, engineering, environmental consulting, professional services, if you will. Um, that's been part of my lifelong journey of like, how do we take care of resources? And so people are your greatest asset. So in that, Steward Your Business was formed in 2022 as a way of helping business owners and individuals, particularly those on a leadership journey, moving from a technical specialist, subject matter expert, to manager, and ultimately a leader within a company. And what I found, particularly with small business owners, typically of less than 50 employees, is that they didn't have a strong leadership team underneath them.
Mm.
And they didn't have the people there that could run the business for the business owner. The business owner had to stay actively involved, and they didn't have that. So, having been in that journey of building a company, working with another company called Vargas for 4.5 years, we went and took it from about 20, 25 employees to over 80 employees in 4 years, generating $1 million in revenue our first year I came on board, and multiple millions over the next few years. So there's a lot of scaling challenges there to get the right people in the right place, equipping them to not just have technical skills, but to have leadership skills to address the challenges that they're facing as you grow a company. So that's where I start. Stephanie has been focusing on those businesses that have 50 employees or less, typically, that are usually under several million in annual revenue. Some could be as high as 7 or 8 million in annual revenue. You're still having this challenge of growing a leadership team underneath you that know their place, know their voice, know how they work together with the team, and
Mhm.
that's where I've been. And what I'm excited about Steward Your Business has been growing this particular year in 2025 is to offer that for those. I love working with the business owners and their teams, but subsequently that there's one avatar. The other avatar is for that individual that is the up and coming. They're maybe the new department head or director or the group manager, and they have they're solid on their technical skills because that's why they got promoted up, but they don't have the leadership skills. They haven't developed an awareness, perhaps even of their understanding of who they are. And this is my own journey. So I'm speaking to the people that I've been in this journey because I was in this place, and so they're throwing everything that they can in the business, trying to do the right things of the business or what they think a leader should be, only to be frustrated that people aren't following along. They're not trusting them. They're not having the credibility that they want to have. And meanwhile, they're burning that. They're just focusing on that, and they're letting other areas of their life that might diminish as well because they're trying so hard in one area. So we try to look at it holistically, because I've
Okay.
been there. I've been married 20 years, got teenagers, been through this process. So it's both that business owner and their team and the individual. Those are the people I strive to serve,
Okay.
Stephanie.
So is the individual paying for their own coaching, or is the
Great
company
question.
paying for the coaching?
So two prong. Um, it could be both. It could be both. Typically, though, it's been the business owner because they're able to afford it. They can have there's a higher ticket offer there, and I'm doing coaching and consulting with them. However, seeing that there's a need, and not every businesses, unfortunately, will cover that. I have been growing a group coaching program so individuals can also invest in themselves, Stephanie, and have that as
Okay.
another option, another way for them to work with me.
And that would be a different price point than if that was
Correct.
through a company? Okay. Um,
Correct. Yes.
all right. So you're that business owner and you want to grow and scale your company, but you can't duplicate yourself.
Yep.
would you say that that is the pain point? That's where you want to grow, but you're stuck at a level because you can't do everything yourself? Is that fair to say?
That absolutely is fair to say. I mean, the business, most of the business, especially in this particular industry, Stephanie, they started because they're very smart at what they do technically. They started a business, and that's great. And many of us do. But then there's a certain point of scalable, or they hit a wall. I'm working with a client right now, just to your point, Stephanie, a woman-owned business where she's bringing on the team because she's like, I want to sell my company at some point.
Yeah.
And professional services companies are only as valuable as the team, the systems, and the
Yes.
processes you have in place. If the owner is the linchpin, it's really not worth very much at the end of the day,
Yeah.
other than the revenue it can create right now for you. But once you stop, that goes away.
Right. Once you've left the business, you have not left it in a place where you can exit gracefully and the things will go on as usual. Would you
Yes.
say that a good portion of your CEOs are in that position? They're looking for their exit strategy or to grow?
Uh, Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think the ones that are forward thinking, absolutely, Stephanie. I think that those are the ideal clients because they already recognize that. I network with synergy partners, I would say. And so when I would talk with people that work in mergers and acquisitions or private equity, when I talk with these companies, one of the things they look at when they're looking to buy or sell a company is what's the strength of the team. And
Yeah.
so that's another way I look at bringing in clients potentially through them if they say, hey, look, they need to develop their team. But where I've been working mostly with clients has been engineering, biological firms, others that don't have that leadership team yet, that can do the project management, that can do the business development, that can work cohesively with their administrative team, both with and their technical people that are in the field. And so there's a breakdown, and they're really, if they don't have key people, the company really is going to it won't be able to survive other than the business owners really trying to keep prop it up, and that's not sustainable. They get burned out.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So would you say it's fair to say that one of your client avatars are people looking to set up their business for sale in the next 5 to 7 years?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, so I would identify that as as a main avatar so that you
Mm-hmm.
can then take that person and speak directly to that person. So some of your marketing should be involved in, education on when to do that. Should you start 3 years isn't enough. You need
Mm-hmm.
more time to build up your team. So if you're starting to speak directly to that CEO of a company, they want to scale it. Maybe they want to give it to a family member. Maybe they want to sell it. Maybe it could be absorbed into a larger company. What will they need to do to achieve that goal? That's where you step in and can help them transition, particularly with the fact that you are targeting AEC and environmental um,
Mm-hmm.
businesses. That gives you a niche into that world as an avatar. So that would be avatar.
That's a great insight because I don't think, like you said earlier in your pillars, haven't stressed that as much
Yeah,
externally. I mean, I know it intrinsically, but what you're saying is you're peeling back the layers. What I'm hearing and saying, hey, make sure that you get that differentiator out there.
right. I'm also trying to find the thing that's going to cause them to want to buy now, the want to
Mm-hmm.
sign up with you now, and they need a
Right.
reason for it to be today. And the hard thing with CEOs and the people who are running and doing most of the heavy lifting with their companies is they're not going to say, gosh, I need some leadership coaching, because it's just not something that they're going to want to invest time in. So you have to give
Yep.
them a reason to want to buy now. So let's think about some
Absolutely.
of the other avatars that you serve. So let's
Mm-hmm.
say that overwhelmed person who wants to scale, like maybe they've bumped up against 1 million or 5 million and they
Mm-hmm.
can never
Mm-hmm.
get above that level. What is a pain point that's really specific that's going to cause them to want to take action? Think about
Mm.
that person. What is the pain point? Is it that they're always overwhelmed? I don't want it to be a feeling. I want it to be like a reason, an outcome for their business. Because we
Mhm,
don't take
mhm.
action for feelings.
Yeah.
We put those up. We as business
Right.
owners.
Well, I will say, for the business owner, that particular person where they're running up, besides what you talked about selling their company, that's one way. I think a lot of them do really care about their employees, Stephanie, and they recognize they're doing their employees a disservice, because they can't provide the support that they need. And what I found is there's a quiet quitting sometimes, or they're losing good people. And so I don't think business owners recognize the cost. Maybe they theoretically do it when I talk about talent, recruiters, things like that, about the cost of finding a person, onboarding them, getting them all trained up, and they have all this knowledge and information, right?
Yeah.
If that person leaves,
Mhm.
it's very you lose production. You have to find somebody else. Even if you find somebody else, they take time to get up to speed. So what I find is you create a competitive advantage in the marketplace when you have a strong culture, a strong team that works very, very well together. And every day that they stay together, you're going to be ahead of anybody else that tries to get in the game. So from a business owner's perspective, it's in their best interest to make sure that that team feels, you know, you would talk about feeling, but they have a holistic approach. There's trust, there's relational trust, there's alignment, right? So that they can then, okay, then it can scale, and there's people that want to come here, and it's a place that they are leaving a legacy, that they're like, okay, this is something really good, and I want to make sure that it continues
Yeah.
on, especially beyond me.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
okay, I still want to dig into that a little bit deeper because it's still
Hmm.
kind of amorphous.
Yes,
It
go ahead.
doesn't have
Hmm.
a specific shape to it, and I want it to
Hmm.
be pointy. I want it to be sharp. So let's think about that that inciting incident. Like we're thinking about a script. There's or a book.
Hmm.
There's an inciting incident that all heck breaks loose. So you've got the
Yeah.
CEO, and they've they're overwhelmed. They can't do everything if they're going to grow. So they need
Yep.
to duplicate themselves.
Right.
So that could be a question. Do you need to duplicate yourself?
Hmm.
How do you
Hmm.
train up people you already have, or how do you identify new candidates that can do what you do so that you can concentrate on the scaling piece and they
Right.
can do your operation, in the business, not on the business
Hmm.
kind of stuff. So
Absolutely. Duplication is huge. Yeah.
that might be a word that would cause people, "Oh my gosh, magic. Can I duplicate myself? That's what I need." Every business owner that's overwhelmed wants to be able to duplicate themselves so that they can concentrate on the things that's actually gonna make the company grow,
No,
because
that's a
you
great
can't do
point,
that.
Stephanie. Well, even I work with a couple clients that they have people that then maybe have quote unquote duplicated themselves to a degree. Um, but also what I found on these small companies,
Mhm.
that's good to a certain degree, but then they have only one person that kind of is still a key holder. Like they
Right.
know all the information, it's siloed. So we have to have redundancy. And I've known this over the course of my
Yes.
career. So what's the redundancy that they have in place? Maybe they can't do 100%. Maybe it's 75, 80% of what you could do. But if that person gets sick, they get leave, something happens, you're not going to be sunk in your business. And so, that is really critical to maintain
Yeah.
their company so that they don't fall behind. Yes.
So, what if there's 3 questions? Question 1 would be, sorry, I'm forming it in my brain. Um, how can you duplicate yourself? Number
Right.
2 would be, what if your right-hand person leaves?
Hmm.
How can you structure your company so that you can keep going and you're not gonna pull your hair out?
Yep.
And 3, um, I wanna I want to, uh, exit my business in 5 to 7 years or 5 to
Hmm.
10, whatever however you wanna say. Um,
Hmm.
so those would be 3 avatars with really specific questions that would cause them to pull the trigger and hire you.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you're such a good outreacher, and you met so many
Yeah.
people and you have a lot of consistent leads. But, to have somebody say, "This is the problem I need to solve today," it can't be a
Yep.
feeling, it can't be amorphous, it can't be leadership or,
Hmm.
synergy or alignment, like those aren't real things. Real
Yeah. Yeah.
things are
Yeah.
like, I need another me and I need somebody as a backup in case I wanna go on vacation and those 2 can still run the company, like, it's a
Yes.
practical need. Okay, so let's
Absolutely.
start with that, and then you can also add your manager
Hmm.
who
Sure.
you want help training them up to become one of those, number 2 or number 3 on the totem pole,
Hmm.
Or do you need to bring somebody up? And then as a separate avatar, if you want to, you could have it for individuals and say, maybe, are you never making it up the ladder? You're still a manager, but you can't get to director. You're a director, but you just can't
Hmm.
get to VP. And you can't find, you know, all the jobs you've been offered are lateral moves, that
Hmm.
kind of thing. Then that would be individuals coaching. So that could be
Right.
arm two of your business. You have arm one for the
Hmm.
business themselves, and arm two for more like professional coaching.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, so we're good on those, yes?
Yes. Yes. Sounds
Okay,
great.
so
Fantastic.
now let's talk about differentiators. So
Hmm.
now that you have those 3 that are really specific and really
Hmm.
hooking the person,
Yes. Yes.
why you? Because there
Yeah.
are a million coaches out there, and there's lots of people that are there to help you scale and growth and align the teams, yada, yada. But why you? What is it that
Great.
you're passionate about that are like you really believe in, that it's like meaty goodness that they can like, sink their teeth into?
No, absolutely, Stephanie. I love that. No, I mean, like I said earlier, spending 25 plus years in this industry, I've been there literally from out of college, just starting my career environmental consulting and working my way up. So it's not that I've just gone out and got some certificates and said I want to be a coach, and hey,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is my own personal journey. And so I have done that, and for those of you who've connected me on LinkedIn, you can kind of see my journey of very active involvement with organizations, not just my organization. I've worked at small firms, large firms, worked at the County of Riverside, a public sector. I've worked at volunteered with nonprofits. And so I understand organizational structure very well. I was the user group leader for Deltec Vision, which is an enterprise resource planning software here in Orange County, LA County, for many years. I helped found that group because I understand the value of project management. I'm a member of Project Management Institute, among others. So I'm very actively involved in professional organizations, understanding what they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, Stephanie. So this is tried and true, tested, and worked on very multi-million dollar large projects, working with companies, power companies, and all sorts of different industries. So they're getting all of that in addition to the tools, and that's where I've worked with existing clients because they know me, I know the industry, I know the language, versus coming out and having something coach that doesn't know that. Now, I
Okay.
know that's my lane. So if you ask me to do this, could I help in manufacturing? Probably, but I'm not going to be effective because manufacturing is not where I spent my career, and I don't know the workflows of exactly what they do. Or let's just say,
Yeah.
warehousing, right? So it's really the professional services space I'm very familiar with.
Okay. I mean, that's great background. That's,
Hmm.
that sort of is the validate, like the base layer
Hmm.
of validation. But
Hmm.
what why did you go into environmental um consulting, or why did you go
Consulting.
into why the environment? Like, I want to know, like, I don't want your resume. I want to know your
Hmm.
calling.
Yeah, well, I saw the challenge of being a technical person and having to step up into number one, a management role, and number two, a technical leadership role. And so what I saw was the challenge that people face, including again myself, using myself as the avatar of. I didn't understand these skills, and I still see that many people come out of college and they'll have technical skills, but they don't have these other skills of who they are, defining who they are, what they beyond their technical skills, whether they're innate talents, skills beyond their technical skills, abilities, and how to articulate those well. So I did that through a personal journey, but what I found is that's why I targeted this industry. Engineers are very smart in the head, they're very subject matter experts, biologists, archaeologists, cultural resources, they even physical therapists. I work with physical therapists. It's like kind of getting out of their that left side of their brain into the right side and helping unlock them, if you will. And
To
that's the
what? To
passion for
what
me.
end?
Yeah.
Like, you're unlocking them to what end?
To to understanding and putting value, language and value about who they are innately, instead of trying to put on errors or trying to behave or show up in something that what I call an outward expressive behavior versus how are they inly naturally designed. And I think a lot of people show up because, oh, this is what society tells me to be, or my parents said I should be a doctor, so I'll be a doctor. And they can learn the technical skills and they can be very effective in that. But the reality is, to be a leader, you have to go beyond technical skills, and maybe they have good management. If they've got a good standard operating procedures, you can fill the boxes. But the reality is, what I found, Stephanie, is many people that can get to that point start to not feel fulfilled. They feel like a kind of a cup half empty. They feel drained. They don't feel truly alive and living in their full purpose. And so that's where my
Okay.
passion is, or how do we create that space for them to feel abundant instead of drained? And they know how to work the system. They know how to make money to a degree. They're successful. They've had some level of success, right? It's just, how do we be successful holistically? Like you said, living the life that they really want
So is the
ultimately.
solution to that problem finding the right people who can do the tasks and love doing the tasks that you hate doing so that you can spend more time doing the things that you love to do? Is that the
That's
main?
definitely part of it. That's one of the what's one of the activities we actually do, Stephanie. I work with them. Is like, we break down what are the things you're doing, and what are the things that are in your zone of genius that you love doing that really
Yeah.
fit with you. And then how do we delegate? Again, me being the connector and bringing the right people, it's like, okay, well, maybe you should not be doing that anymore. We need to shift that, even though you can do it, right? It's not the best use of your time and energy. So let's get you in what you're in. When you're in your zone of genius, when you're in your
Yeah.
zone of what you do best, you're going to make more money. You're going to create more opportunities for yourself. It's a natural law of the world. And then you're going to also help other people. But there's a lot of fear and anxiety of people that I found, Stephanie, that they want to hold on to position because they feel like, well, this is what I've got. Defines me. This is my role. This is my title. And so they hold very tightly to that, only to their own demise, if you will, because they don't realizing, if you can let go of those things and realize there's a bigger picture, there's just an abundance, a regeneration, if you will, over and over again. So it's me helping them unlock that, and knowing that that's what I've done in my own personal journey.
Okay. I mean, I like everything that you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
but it still doesn't give me a thing that makes you stand out in the marketplace and make you the obvious
Mm-hmm.
choice. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
really, why are you we wanna know, like, why are you the obvious choice? And it can't be systems and processes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it can't be your journey. It needs to
Mm-hmm.
be something that's deeper than that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you have a super passion for the environment, or you have a super passion for builders, because they're creating something from nothing, or or you have a way of pulling out the talents out of the people that, like, the
Yeah, that's
management
the
team.
connector. That's the connection. Like I said, the foundation of, like, where you bring people together to accomplish great things. So oftentimes you have people working in silos. There's a great TED talk about called Super Chickens, where you have people that are isolated. This often happens in an
Yeah.
organization where you have people that are siloed, or you promote only one person as a high up, and then they kind of dominate. I like to use the Ghostbuster analogy, Stephanie. I am the person that suggests, why don't we cross the streams? They're trying to take out the marshmallow man, right? And they're all shooting, it's not working. And it takes one person to say, let's cross the streams. And then, oh my goodness, there's a multiplying effect. So that's where I come in, as a multiplying effect exponentially. When we take those people that are trying to do everything, and I come in as a connector and I say, let's bring these things in together and start to unlock people. Like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I didn't know I should even be talking to that person. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. You guys can actually have more effect together than you would isolated and alone, just trying to grind through.
Okay, here's a question. Would you say that you're able to do that, execute that, and
Hmm.
sense the team and understand the feels that are going on because you have a very high emotional intelligence?
Hmm.
Would you
Yes,
say that that is, like, ingrained and innate in you, high
absolutely.
emotional intelligence, yet you also have a technical mind, which is
Hmm.
why you like working in that industry, because it's very technical and sciency, and very often
Yep.
you have sciency people who are not high emotional intelligence people, so maybe
Right.
you are the blending of the 2. Would it be
Yeah.
would is that your secret sauce?
That definitely is. Yeah. Yes. I mean, I've done that. That's how we grew the company from 25 to 80 employees over 4 years. As the connector, I was that person working well, very well, like you said, systems and processes, to the point, Stephanie, when I left that company, after about 6 months of being gone, that a person was very systems oriented, good person, but just very systems oriented, but not the connector. And systematically, one by one, people left the company. They didn't feel the connection. They didn't feel even though they're doing the technical work. And that's what I find a lot of these companies, they don't realize that they need both. They need both. It's two sides of a coin. We need systems and processes. We also need the connection and
Yeah.
helping people to be that.
Okay, as you were talking, the image that came into my mind was two halves of the brain and the bundle of nerves and
Oh
synapses
yeah.
that connect the two sides of the brain. Is that you?
I like that. Yes, yes.
Okay, so when I'm a technical person, a technical job, and I'm having a hard time with managing all the feels of the people that are working for me, they're driving me nuts because there's like all the feels and this person and yada yada, and they want to wash their hands of that, as that is not their core strength. Their core strength
Right.
is the thing that brought them into this very technical world to begin with. They didn't get there
Mhm.
from being emotionally intelligent, but
Mhm.
they need to have those skills in order to be a superior leader. And they want to be a
Mhm.
superior leader, and they want those problems to go away. So they either have to hire somebody to do that and help them facilitate that, or a team or HR or you or whatever, or they have to learn those skills so that they can head off those problems before they begin. So,
Mhm.
like, if you can, do you see how presenting yourself as that bundle of nerves between the two hemispheres means that you speak both languages fluently
Yes.
and you can help guide that journey? Does that resonate with you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I've learned to appreciate the differences where before they were, like you said, irritants and you can create a toxic and even a work environment if you
Yeah.
don't understand how everybody works and appreciating that and drawing the best out of each other. So that's where, yes, my strength was in being able to grow and scale the previous company I was with now and helping other businesses unlock that. Absolutely.
Okay, so now we need to connect the dots. So now you've got your three avatars and
Hmm.
you've got your differentiator of being that connector between right and left brain thinking people, the ability to bring empathy to the technical, to be able to bring structure to the people that are more flowing and less
Hmm.
rigid.
Hmm.
So you're able to do that and facilitate that with a deep understanding of that work environment, because you have all of those years of experience in environmental and AEC, and you have the proof of concept that you have grown a company in that way. Then you have the
Hmm.
pain point of, I want to grow my company so I can exit, or I have the pain point of, I need to duplicate myself and I don't know how to do that. So if you take
Yep.
all of those pieces, to me, that starts to create a cohesive brand. And so now the question is, does all that resonate with you? You feel like, yes,
Yes,
like,
yes, you've done a great job pulling it out. I
bring it
love
out.
how you work. You're like, I'm getting this, and thank you, Stephanie. I hope you guys are enjoying this because Stephanie's just a master at this. So you're getting a master class here.
Well, now we need to think about how to execute. How
Hmm.
do you bring that to life? Now, one
Right.
thing about your website is it has a
Hmm.
lot of content on it. There are many, many
Hmm.
words on your website,
Hmm.
but I did not notice anywhere on the website that says that you work with environmental consulting firm or your AEC companies. I didn't see any of
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
also didn't see a pain point that would cause me to say, that I need, that I'll pay for.
Hmm.
And so if
Hmm.
you can tone down all the words so
Uh-huh.
that I don't have to read as much. I don't want to have to work on a website to have to
Hmm.
work to figure it out. So if right off the bat it is duplicate yourself, grow your company for your eventual exit, and grow fivefold, grow
Hmm.
your business fivefold, like, oh, okay, that's something different than aligning teams and synergy,
Uh-huh.
and which is
Hmm.
not very specific. So if you can change your messaging to be more talking directly to those three avatars, and then your additional, you could do a separate page for your
Yeah,
professional,
the individuals. Hmm.
yeah, for individuals, but your main customer, that core customer, is going to be those three avatars that we talked about. So now you need to talk to them. Are you
Mhm.
this? This
Mhm.
is what I do. And you can have
Yep.
a picture of the brain, and this is me. Look, it's Dave's right there. Put your face right there.
Right, right,
You
right.
know?
Yes, absolutely.
So it's memorable and something fun, and because you're not a super serious guy.
Yeah,
You're a
no, fun, we
nice
gotta have
person,
fun. We gotta
and
enjoy this. It's not I don't want it to be a
right.
painful thing. Absolutely.
Right, and you're a nice person, and we don't wanna see that you're gonna talk about, like, execution, and
Yeah, we're
executing, and success, and, like, you're gonna be a lot more holistic
yeah.
about your approach.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
if you can talk to
Absolutely.
those people in the simplest terms possible that really says, "Yeah, that's me, I see myself there, and I now know that that's why I wanna spend money to hire you." I'm
Mhm,
not gonna
mhm,
hire you because I'm feeling something. I'm gonna hire
mhm.
you because I have a specific business need, and I don't know how to do it,
Yes.
but you do.
Mhm, mhm.
So that
Absolutely.
gives you, your audience and your messaging, and then your content needs to speak directly to those
All of
people.
that.
I need to know
Mhm,
it for sure. You've got a lot of content on your LinkedIn, you've got a lot of content on your website and your blogs, but I don't know who you are. I just know that you're active online.
mhm, mhm.
I wanna be able to know these are the people that I serve, these are the repeat it, repeat it, repeat it, like you
Mhm.
do in networking meetings. It's the
Yeah,
same
yeah, yeah.
pitch every time. Well, it doesn't hurt to do that online. Like, it seems like we're repeating ourselves, but really we're educating our audience about what makes us different.
Yeah, that's a
So
good point. And I was gonna say, as you say that, Stephanie, too, I think we get, like, kind of, I don't wanna say numb to it, but we like, "Oh, I think I" because we heard it, but many people haven't heard this. In fact, I was talking to a gentleman that did a 3-year email campaign, Stephanie, and he said
mhm.
he would and he said this guy was on his email list for probably 9 or 10 years, I don't know, a long time. And he said, "I just got your email," which he probably got
Like
multiple times at
90
the
teen
time.
emails.
But he didn't but he got it in years past, but he didn't do anything about it. But for this time,
Yeah,
he saw it again, or it
yes.
came up, and he got it, and he was like, "Oh my gosh!" So to your point, I think it's important to like remember that not everybody is seeing. I mean, we got a lot of stuff going on, so things you could
Yeah,
post something and you missed it, so maybe repost it again, or and then if it's
exactly.
meaningful and it's on point, right, Stephanie?
Or just repeat it and everything. I'm
Yeah.
this and this is my job, or I'm the
Hmm.
person, I'm the two halves of the brain.
Yeah.
Whatever your slogan wants to be. And then I'm going to encourage you for in your H1 title tag at the top of your website above the fold, I want that to
Hmm.
be searchable. So that right now it's not very SEO
Hmm.
friendly. Nobody's going to look
Hmm.
for stewarding vision. Like,
Hmm.
they're not
Hmm.
going to Google that. So
Uh-huh.
think hard about like how somebody would Google you, because I feel like a lot of people say, well, I don't really get my clients from Google. But
Uh-huh.
what happens is, oh, I saw that guy and he was in one of my things, or I was at a public speaking thing and there was that guy. I don't remember the name of his company. What if I just Googled what he was? Maybe I'll
Whatever.
find him,
Right.
and suddenly you become findable by that person who
Mm,
didn't think to take your card or whatever. And
right.
now, one last thing, I know that you are doing public speaking. Do you
Mhm.
have a way of capturing people's emails during those events?
Yes, yes, although it could be improved, I'll just put it that way. It's a little
Yeah.
clunky, so
Yeah, a
yes.
lot of people who public speak forget that it's this amazing time, like, even if you can't sell from stage, which is
Right.
completely fine, you can still offer a free download and put a QR code on the screen
Yes, yes.
and get people
Mhm,
to get into your funnel, and then they get the free download in return for their email address, and suddenly you've got, the 40 people in that room or the 100 people in that room.
absolutely, absolutely, I'm gonna be speaking here next month, so that's a great prompt,
Yeah.
that I can
Create a QR
prepare
code,
for that.
and then all they have to do is give their email, and they can see it right then and there.
Yeah.
And, it should be valuable content that relates to whatever it is you were speaking about.
Wow, this has been great, Stephanie. I mean, you've given me a lot of good things to think about, consider. I hope everybody, I'm putting myself out there because here's the thing: I want to be a better business owner. I want to help Steward Your Business reach more people. And Stephanie here, thank you for sharing your insights and perspective. I want to make sure you guys go to Brand-ification. You guys can check that out online, or of course, connect with Stephanie on LinkedIn. Stephanie, we've covered a lot of different things. So if a business owner is coming to this, you went through your pillars, but
Yes.
what would you encourage them to do if they're listening to this in their own
Yeah.
business? Where would you have them start?
I would start for sure. I would say 2 steps. One, really think hard about your target audience and why would they hire you? What's a
Hmm.
reason, a real reason that they would hire
Hmm.
you? And then the next thing is think about your differentiators. What am I passionate about? I feel super strongly that messaging is the key to all of this. Like I feel passionate about it. So,
Yes.
that's my differentiator. Like I'm not looking at marketing with impressions and downloads. I'm
Hmm.
looking at it from what is it you're saying that's going to connect with the people you want to work with. So
Hmm.
I feel strongly about that. So if you can really think about like what you feel strongly about, like it can be hard to stand out if you're an accountant or a realtor or a
Yes.
lawyer or something. The
Hmm.
services that you're providing are often the same as the next guy. But if you can figure out like, well, I'm the person who does this. I feel strongly about this, or I offer my clients tools that they can use, or I only offer this kind of service. I have a friend who offers has a sales tax business. I mean, and there's
Hmm.
nothing less sexy than a sales tax business, but she makes it
Yeah.
interesting because she's super passionate about helping small business owners with this like very difficult hurdle in their
Hmm.
businesses. And then she puts all kinds of amazing pictures on the internet and it becomes a really interesting profession.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm so grateful that you came on the podcast today. We're going to have you come back for sure, because I think this was fantastic. And I mean, you got more insights. We just can't do everything, but I'm glad that you could walk me through and you've given me some number of actionable items that I can do. And I appreciate that, because at the end of the day, I want to be able to reach more people, help leverage the resources experience I've had. And so you're giving me the ability to do that. So thank you so much, Stephanie.
Oh, this was so fun. This is what I love to do, and this is exactly what I do for all my clients. You just gotta, like, pull it.
There you go. There you go. Oh, fantastic. Well, everybody, I hope you will follow along. Leave any comments you have for Stephanie, whether it's on YouTube or LinkedIn or wherever you find us on your favorite podcast platform. Share it if you found value in this, and of course, come back and enjoy another episode the next time on the Business Roundtable Podcast. Thanks, everybody. Thanks again, Stephanie. Till
You're
next
welcome.
time. Take
Thanks so
care.
much. Bye.